Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Like It Really Is with Maurice. And I am your host. I am in the building. Today, we have a great show today. We're going to talk about some things about energy, man. We're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk about self love, all of these things that we need in order to make it in the world today. You know what I mean? Because if you look around and you see what's transpiring in our world, the negative energy, the stress, the struggle, the anger, the just all kinds of dysfunctional situations, mental illness, all of these things play a big part in the struggle. And today we're going to talk about some things that's going to help with healing. Okay, today also we have a special guest today coming straight from New York City. We in the building. We got Sarah Kennedy here today. She's going to give us some energy, some good vibes, and she's going to give us some knowledge about healing, self healing. You know what I'm saying? Getting all of them negative vibes out of you. Shake it off. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to shake off that evil spirit today. But what's important today is self love. First of all, before we even get started, let me just say everyone that's over on Facebook, everybody that's on Twitter, everybody that's on TikTok and Instagram, please go over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and you'll be the first person to get a notification of any shows that we're doing, anything that comes up. You'll be the first one. Let me tell you, this is not like every other show on YouTube. No. This is not like every other show. This show is a little bit different. This one is more, you can reach out and touch us. You can communicate with us. You can come into our lives and our live and ask questions and whatever, we're here to help you, to communicate with you, to give you information. And that's what we're here for today. But before we get into all of that, let's talk. I have my friends here today. I don't know if you guys remember Psych to Go. These guys always help me out with some information. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring them on today, and they're going to talk about self-love. Because let me tell you something, you need to start loving yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, you can't go to the next level in life. You understand what I'm saying? So let's take a minute, let's take a moment, let's just take a second. Let's listen to Psych to Go. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to another video. Do you know what self-love is? It's more than changing your hair, getting a new wardrobe, or attempting to redefine yourself. Self-love is gaining an appreciation for yourself through the physical, emotional, and spiritual support you provide yourself with. It's not a fixed state, but can grow over time through actions that lead to maturity. Establishing self-love can be a long journey, but it's a vital step to improving your mental health and overall happiness. So, here are a few tips that may help you along the way. Number 1, forgive yourself. Are you incredibly tough on yourself? Sometimes when you're struggling for perfection, you end up overlooking the fact that you're only human. Although you may tell yourself that you're just holding yourself accountable, too much self-deprecation can be harmful to your mental health. Instead, learning to forgive yourself for the mistakes you make and treating them as opportunities to grow is a step towards practicing self-love. Number 2, be mindful. Are the goals you set for yourself really what you want, or are they pushed onto you by society? Being introspective or mindful can give you a sense of clarity into who you are, how you think, and what you want. It arms you with self-knowledge that you can use to move forward. Some ways to practice mindfulness include keeping a journal, meditating, or just taking some time to self-reflect. Number 3, act on what you need. Do you know what gives you energy? What makes you happy? Perhaps you're feeling overwhelmed with needing to spend so much time with your friends or colleagues, but feel bad for wanting to step away. Choosing to go anyways may end up draining your energy and leaving you exhausted. That's why it's so important to identify the things that make you feel better versus the things that make you feel worse. Knowing what you need and acting on those needs is a form of self-love, and it can go a long way for your mental and emotional well-being. Which brings us to number 4, set boundaries. Are there certain behaviors that you're not willing to put up with? The purpose of setting boundaries is not to kick people out of your life, but rather to help you identify what is acceptable or welcomed in your life and what's not. Healthy boundaries help you filter out things that drain your energy, harm you emotionally, physically, or spiritually. A way to set boundaries is by starting with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Figure out what you need to feel loved or accepted, and then work from there. Number 5, protect yourself. What type of people do you surround yourself with? Another way to practice self-love is to protect yourself. This may mean bringing people into your life who will be supportive and who contribute to your emotional, mental, and spiritual health instead of tearing it apart. Getting rid of fake friends or anyone who takes pleasure in your misery is important for your self-esteem and self-confidence. Number 6, live intentionally. What makes your eyes light up? What inspires you? Sometimes it's easy to just follow a routine in your day-to-day life to the point where you stop giving it much thought. But it's important to live life with intention and to make choices that help you move towards your goals. For example, if you intend to live a peaceful and healthy life, you need to make choices that support that goal. That may include learning how to meditate or starting to change your diet for the better. Number 7, show up for yourself. Do you scold yourself when you don't finish everything you set out to do? There will be times where you don't accomplish everything you plan to do, but acknowledging the effort you've given and the amount you have done is important. It's easy to focus on only your faults, but showing yourself kindness and compassion, even in how you talk to yourself, can help overwrite some of the negative mental patterns you may have and help you feel loved and supported. And number 8, practice self-care. Do you tend to ignore your needs sometimes? Taking care of your basic needs is an act of love. Even taking a few minutes out of your day to check in and provide yourself with what you need can help you feel a lot better. Whether it's soaking in a hot bath, eating something healthy, or even working out, practicing self-care can go a long way for your mental health and your happiness. Have you practiced any of these types of self-love? Let us know in the comments below.
Yes. So listen, that was Sight to Go, and they just explained to us about self-love. I can't stress it enough how important it is to love yourself and how important it is to keep motivating your mind and motivating your body and keeping great energy around you. There is a problem in our communities today, and we need some kind of remedy, some kind of a fix. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest. But before she comes on, I'm so sorry. Before she comes on, we have one person that we have to play her music. This is Jada Marie from Yonkers. She's a new addition to the music world, and we promote her music. And so when we come back from Jada Marie, we will go right straight to Sarah Kennedy. She is waiting patiently in the backstage, and we're gonna pull her up. Ladies and gentlemen, right out of Yonkers, my hometown, the home of the locks. We'll be right back.
I'm from the home of the locks. It don't stop. A young girl trying to make it to the top. I like to mix the new with the hip hop. Give them something they can feel and something they can rock. I'm from the home of the locks. It don't stop. A young girl trying to make it to the top. I like to mix the new with the hip hop. Give them something they can feel and something they can rock. Let me tell you about me, if you don't know. Love a girl, don't play, she don't take no jokes. Got a super clean swag and a sick ass flow. Everything she spit, guaranteed she wrote. And she ain't worried about what you doing. If you ain't giving her cash, keep it moving. I'm from the home of the locks. It don't stop. A young girl trying to make it to the top. I like to mix the new with the hip hop. Give them something they can feel and something they can rock. I'm from the home of the locks. It don't stop. A young girl trying to make it to the top. I like to mix the new with the hip hop. Give them something they can feel and something they can rock. And I ain't really with the drama, so you can save all that for your mama.
That's right. There you go. The home of the locks, man. Listen, and I don't mean the locks in her hair. Okay. So the home of the locks, for those who don't know, is a group in Yonkers. And that's where I'm from Yonkers. And, special shout out to Jada Kiss and Styles P and everybody out there, Mary J. Blige, all of my friends, all of my good friends, longtime friends, DMX. Special shout out to them. But right now, coming to the platform right now with the energy. Ah, energy. You understand what I'm saying? Energy. We're going to fix y'all, okay? We're going to try to fix y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try to do something to fix you, and if it don't work for you, it don't work for you. But at least try because you never know if it's going to fix you. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Your hands is together for Sarah Kennedy. She is a healer. Hey there, how you doing, Sarah? How's everything?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
First of all, I want to, yeah, thank you. No, thank you for coming and just, being, on such a short notice. On top of that, you came through, and I'm just thankful for that. Now, as you see, we're talking about self-love. We're talking about things that we healing. Some of the things that we go through in life, and I just want to get to first start to get to know, let the people know how we met. Okay. Well, let me just start off here. I ride around a lot in New York City, and I came across this picket line, and these people were yelling and screaming, and they was like, no, no, we won't go. And I pulled up on them, and I was like, okay, well, what's going on? And Sarah came up, and she explained the situation. She says, they're trying to, do something. They're trying to make some moves, and we don't want to make those moves. I think this is when they were giving out the shots, right?
Yep.
Right. And so you just y'all, I mean, it was just a no go, right? For that.
Yes, it was definitely a no-go for me, only because, none of the information had came out about, their trials and everything. And me being at a certain age and with my background with miscarriages, I was just, I've been healing. I had been on my self-healing journey for several years prior to this. And
Mhm.
so to me, it was like, I've spent all this time healing from all of the trauma that I had experienced. I finally was like off medication. I was eating right. And now they wanted to do this. And because they didn't have the backing, if they would have had the science that I was looking for, they had
Right.
other science, but not the particulars that I was looking for. And so, I was really against that because I had been in healthcare for 18 years, one way or another. And now all of a sudden it was like, that was all going to go down the drain because of, my own personal healthcare decision, even though I had been working on the units throughout the pandemic. So it was a very, very, it was disheartening, the things that I was seeing, people turning on each other in the workforce and a lot of different things. And so I was out trying to get some rights and trying to at least speak my truth. So that's how we met.
Well, I'm sure that you've seen a lot, when you were in the front lines. I'm pretty sure you witnessed a lot of death and also stuff that wasn't done right, and just it probably discouraged you, and you just said, you know what, I don't even want to be a part of this.
Right. Right. So I kind of I left the units that I was working on and I went to another place at that time. It was home care that was accepting some temporary letters, but it was very shortly after that they said, we've got insurance companies coming after us now and we can't accept the letters. And so I went into private pay. And one of my patients I was taking care of, she's like, I don't want to lose you. You're a fantastic nurse. I will pay you out of pocket. So I went that route for a long time. And then I started my business.
Wow, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
just to know that, you know, people on the front lines have a problem with, you know, these vaccinations that are being distributed to people. And even until now, there's a lot of doubt in people's minds about the um, vaccination, and does it really work. But you've come a long, long, long way. You've come a long way, and you left the job, and you moved on, and you said, let me just do something a little bit different. And you stepped into the realm of healing,
Yes.
and you stepped into the realm of crystals.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if that's a realm, but let's just say you rocked the crystals,
Hmm.
right? And so you gave me some crystals, right? You sent them to me, which was just a beautiful thing. No one's ever really sent me anything. You sent me some crystals, and I have been having some really good luck. You
Good.
know what I mean? Not even just that, I've been feeling really, really, really good. Where there was a point in time in my life where I was a little bit down,
Yeah.
but you know, I have these crystals, these things around me that kind of helps me. And I don't know what that's one of the reasons why I have you here, is because I want to know a little bit more about what you do. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So I went through what's called an awakening process where they call it, some people call it a Kundalini awakening, other people call it a spiritual awakening. I had what was called basically a Phoenix year, where basically anything and everything that was extremely important to me, I lost all within a very short period of time. And everything that I had ever learned about my poor coping skills, they no longer worked. So I had to basically kind of like the phoenix, I burned to ash, and then I had to rebuild myself. And the way I did that was stepping into inward, not looking outward for anything. I looked inward, and I was looking for, the true authentic me, who I was and what made me happy. So
Right.
in this process of healing myself, I had a lot of spiritual gifts that turned back on. I used to have a lot of gifts as a child that kind of weaned off. And so I was using all of this healing for
When you
myself.
say gifts as a child, what do you mean gifts as a child?
So I grew up with, I was able to see my spirit guides. I was able to make predictions. I would, in dream state, I'm able to have all kinds, I can see all kinds of different timelines in dream state. And so my mom used to wake me up, and she'd ask me about my dreams, and I'd tell her about my dreams. And then as the day was going, I'd go, "Oh, mom, that's that car." Or remember, and it started simple like that. And then as I got older, more things happened. I was able to predict when people were going to, transition or expire. And I had that happen with a neighbor and all kinds of stuff. And so it just got a little bit stronger. And then as I got into my teenage years, it's like I kind of turned it off a little bit. And then when I started to go through my spiritual awakening, they came back with a full force. I was all back to being able to hear my guides. I can hear guides. My body is very sensitive to energy. And I realized that I was basically doing self-healing on myself because my hands would warm up and I could feel energy spinning in my hands. And I'd fall asleep with my hands on myself, and I'd wake up and I could just feel all this energy going through my heart space. And I'd take my hands off of my heart, and then it would go away. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's actually from me. So I
Wow.
went in and I started studying it, and I started using it mostly on myself. And then I ventured out and started doing it on close friends, family, all those kind of teachings. And then now I run a business. So basically what I do for my business is I have like the regular psychic gifts. So I read tarot, I have visions, I'm able to speak with other people's guides, and different things like that. I also do readings about soul contracts. So as a soul, we have contracts with people. We can have them with our family. We can have them with our best friends. We can have them with our lovers.
Right.
And so they can be soulmates, karmics, all these different styles. And I can read those. I can get the information from what's called the Akashic Halls, or the records.
Right.
And then I do quantum energy healing, where I help people with their chakra systems. I clean out their auric fields, their Merkabas, different things like that. And then it really boils down to a lot of past life stuff will come through during those readings. Like, there's so much that we don't realize that we still are doing: patterns, behaviors, limiting thoughts, disappointment, stress, that actually happened in previous lives, that just we've carried. It's carried like in our DNA, kind of our cellular memory. Then
So
there's
that energy, you're saying, is just that, so something like negative energy continues to go with you, follows you.
It can. So I also clear spells and curses. I clear out entities out of people's fields and stuff. So a lot of times, some of that darker stuff wants to hang on to trauma. So the more you heal, the less anything of a lower frequency has a chance to actually grasp onto. They have to have something to hold on to be able to stay within your field. And so that's why that self-love and that healing you should do, because they have nothing to grasp onto.
Well, one thing that I know is that is like you said, self love is something you need to grasp onto. I once knew. Oh, I didn't once know. I've seen on TV this guy that was able to read into the future, not read into the future, but bring up people's past,
Past
and
lives.
yeah, a skinny guy. He does the celebrities. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He does. He's a little skinny guy, and he just he tells a story. He tells the story of people's lives, and he reads into their life. Is
Mhm.
that something which you do? You read into people's lives?
So what I do, I offer on my TikTok, is that for the live readings, is I do what's called an energy scan. And so basically I go in and I look at your whole energy, and I look at your chakras. I see where you have blocks. A lot of times I'll be shown where the block came from, if it was a previous life. So a lot of times I can go into an energy read for a woman, and I can tell that she's holding trauma in her womb, right in the sacral, from past life miscarriages, or it can be generational. So she could be carrying the trauma of a grandmother who had a miscarriage in the womb. You can have your lineage issues as well. So that's where generational curses come from, trauma, different things like that. We hold that, and as women, the womb space is kind of like a little area where we try and hold as much as possible to transmute for our lineage, right? So
Right. So just let me just ask you this. Um, I've been struggling with understanding like certain things, and I always love to be educated. Um, Low vibration and high vibration. Now, a lot of times we come into different rooms, or you're around certain people, and they have this low vibration. And then you have some people that have high vibrations.
mhm.
Now, how do you really distinguish that, right?
so
And then what do you do when you're in that kind of a situation with someone with low vibration?
So the
Or
thing is lower vibration can take many forms. That can be trauma, depression, anxiety. All those things kind of drop your level. Also, heavy substance abuse, alcohol, things like that, those can lower your frequency a little bit. Now, I'm not a huge fan of people, because a lot of people in the new age will be like, oh, good vibes only, like they like everything has to be high vibe. And
right,
that's kind of a misconception, because the truth is that without your darkness, you can't transmute it to light. You can't become more enlightened, as they'll talk about, unless you face that darkness. So you should never be fearful of any low vibration. What you need to do is spend time harnessing your power into shielding yourself. So you can do that with your auric field. You can do that with crystals. You can keep, if you say you're an empath, and where you get drained easily by large groups of people because you can feel the energy of people, crystals
right,
are a very good tool to keep in your pocket, and that you can kind of play around with in your pocket, or just to keep it on you. They're tools. They help to protect your auric field. And then you should be doing some type of daily practice to strengthen your auric field so that no matter if you're with a high vibration or a low vibration, it cannot penetrate you, because you're not giving away your power. So really anything outside of you, it's your decision if you give it the power enough to disrupt you.
Wow, that's a fact. That's a fact. We have Shanna Love. She's 19 years old, currently going through chronic chest pain and stomach and fear of eating. What would you say to someone like that?
So with something like that, I mean, there can be, I'll go into my guides just a little bit here.
Okay. Welcome, Shannon Love. I appreciate
Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
So a lot of time, I can tell you this much, most physical ailments stem from an energetic issue that over time has festered and manifested into a physical problem. So, the thing about fear of eating, that's going to come down to what is the fear of eating? Are you afraid? Is it a weight thing? Is it a digestion thing? Do you have, uncomfortable and pain? I mean, pain is definitely trying to tell you something, and that's why it's very hard in this society, because you go to the doctor, you say, I'm having pain. What do? Take this, right? It's not, okay, let's go down and really figure out where this is coming from and figure it out, because even depression can cause physical pain, and anxiety can cause physical pain. And that's a mental thing that the body is manifesting. So with chronic chest pain, you would have to decipher if it's basically palpitations, like if you have anxiety, you know what I mean? And then if it's anxiety, let's say, you would have to realize, where are you when it happens? You have to become very present within your body. So like for anxiety, are you in the future or are you in the past, right? Because we're not going back that way. And every decision you make right now is what decides your future, not getting lost in daydreaming about the future.
Wow.
So, it has to be all about the now. A lot of Buddhists will talk about that. There's nothing besides the present moment. But when it comes down to, of course, I do medical mediumship as well. So I don't know how you want to do it, but I mean, I do offer a reading where I basically use my mediumship skills to look at the physical body to get information from my guides on what is the problem. Like if it's a medical thing, if it's a spiritual thing, then that would be energy work, and you can start working on things like that. But if it is a physical, of course, you may need to see somebody, but it just depends.
Now, are you able to do that? Like if they're like, you see their face, can you actually do that if you see them online right now?
Yeah, I don't even need to see her face. I just need to know her name and I can connect with her. So.
Wow. Well, anybody listen, if you are, Shannon, if you want her to connect with you, you can say something in the chat. I don't know if you're still here listening. But that's a great thing there. I mean, that's a lot of information that's given. Nice. And if you want to see some of her work, and you want to sequester some of her work, you tell them what your was your TikTok or IG?
Yeah, it's called Lucky Crystal. The spelling is a little bit long, so I don't know if I can put it in the chat, possibly.
Can you put it in the chat?
I think so.
Okay. Let's put that in the chat.
Okay.
Shannon Love, listen, if you want to come up and you just click on that link right there and come up and ask all the questions that you want to ask.
Sure.
Just come on up. And hey, Barb, how you doing? How's everything? I saw all your messages, Barb. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you so much. Shannon, if you want to come in and have Sarah, talk to you and give you some information, feel free to come up. The link is in the chat, so you can connect that way. Yeah, so that's deep, man. That's very powerful, what you're doing and how you're doing it. So let me get this right. Negative energy. right? Sometimes I feel like, I have some people around me that have negative energy,
Hmm.
and they don't want to see me do better, and they don't want they constantly ridicule, and you know uh, if I say I have money, they want some of it. It's that negative energy. What would you say is a good thing to do when you have negative energy around you?
So the first thing you always want to do is, I'm always going to say this, have your shield, have yourself where you're strong. But there's a couple of different things that can happen. One is people have a chip on their shoulder. They have a negative limiting thought process, and what can happen is jealousy, envy, things like that. It's called evil eye is what it's called.
You
It's called
oh,
evil eye, and it's a
sounds
very
scary.
old term. It's Turkish. It's Albanian. It came from that side of the country, and
Right.
really, what it means is, what we don't realize is every time we say someone's name followed by negative stuff, it gets sent to them. It gets sent to their energy field, because we're all energy. And so you can be saying something over here and affecting something over here, right? That's that quantum entanglement. And when you're using the power, and when you're using the power of someone's name, you are connecting to them in the quantum. So, when people are like jealous, or are talking down about you, a strong empath can actually pick up when they feel evil eye in their field. And the best way to do it is you can go on YouTube, or you can go on wherever you want and find an auric cleanser, and you can set the intention before you listen to it that you're clearing all evil eye out of your space, out of your auric field. The other thing that you have to be careful for is people that are called energy vampires, right? And it's an actual thing. And it's people
Wow.
that have lost parts of themselves, maybe in previous lives or throughout their life. And they basically kind of feed off other people. They like to be around high vibe people, really energetic people, because they kind of like hook into them a little bit. And
Wow.
that's where you can talk about energetic cords. So I clear cords off people all the time, and that can be even with your lovers. You can be your family, anyone that's kind of in a weaker state. So I find this a lot with parents that have disabled children, because their child is in a different state of mind, and they maybe are more confused, and the mother or the father are, of course, very open to wanting to help them. And in that process, the child will energetically cord to them and be draining them. And it gets really messy. It can get dangerous too if it's gone too long. So I cleared one off of a woman who, she came to me because she was at her wit's end with her child, who was very aggressive, and he had autism. And so I went in and found out that this child had corded with his entire family. Every single one of them had a cord. And there was like 2 spells on the boy. So I cleared all of those things off of. And she said that prior to the reading, she actually had like suicidal idolization about just taking her and her son and letting the whole family be okay. Because that's how. And as soon as she had the cord removal, that went away, because she was no longer sharing that energy with the child, who was probably the one that was thinking like that, but was transferring it to her because of that cord. It's like you're basically just doing this with your energy. The energy vampires just usually suck.
Wow. So do you believe in astrology?
So astrology, I am not like proficient in astrology. I think there's certain points in your life where it can be suitable. You know what I mean? But once you start to have an awakening, you start to come into what's called being like multidimensional. You have lots of different aspects of yourself.
Right.
And so it doesn't always, I've looked at my natal chart after I had my awakening, and I was like, wow, this describes me like 10 years ago. Like, not right now, it doesn't, but 10 years ago, before I had any sort of awakening, that was
Right.
absolutely me. And so I found that very interesting, that you can evolve past your astrology sign. But I do know that I've heard a lot of people say that it's not even the same astrology that it was back in the ancient times. So I would, if you were really into it, I would find some of those very older, there's like some Celtic people, there's a Celtic star alignment that they do. And they're able to read it how it was back then. But I definitely don't knock it. I don't knock any divinity. I think people can find out a lot about themselves as long as they take it with a grain of salt, that the aspects that they don't like about the astrology, you can always transcend, to not label themselves with something. So.
Wow, that's serious. That's some serious stuff. Well, listen, we got a question or a comment. Actually, it sounds like a question. And this is one's from Barb. She says, "How can I heal my cat who has an aggressive cancer? I say a prayer while I have my hand on her and put on healing music. She had radiation and is on chemo pill and using a holistic supplement."
Okay. So I would say the best things that you can find with the aggressive cancer.
And they said this tumor. They said the tumor is still growing.
It's still growing. So, the things that you can do is you can go to people that are energy workers. You can go to people that communicate with animals, right? So if you feel it's to a point that she may not be able to go backwards, but what can you provide for her now and moving forward? That would be, you can do energy work or get someone, like I do energy work on animals as well. But there's some people that are very, very attuned with speaking with animals. And so, the animal can tell you. The animals also have guides. They have their own guides. So it just takes learning how, of course, none of us are going to, get out of this alive. So, unfortunately, this is part of the process. But, it seems like you're really doing the right thing by trying to stay holistic and trying to treat her. I think she said her, or treat your cat to your best abilities, but frequencies are always really good. Cats are, they basically are considered higher dimensional beings. They're kind of different. Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because cats seem like they have their own, like somebody told me cats have their own jinn.
So
Like
they have
their own spirits.
Yeah, they absolutely do. So what I've been told and shown is that all cats, we're going to get kind of galactic here, but all cats were, the origin of cats is from another place. And that it was a little bit previous to Atlantis that the cat was brought here. And so that's why the Egyptians revered them as gods and goddesses, or as, very, unique, is because they have this higher spiritual connection. And so I've been shown that all cats can be activated. So your spirit guide, so say you're going through something and you're brought a cat, right? You just walk outside and a cat's sitting there and you're like, oh my God, and it follows you and won't let you leave it alone. Like that cat is really kind of given to you for a reason, and it can be activated to help heal you. So cats purrs by itself. They purr at a frequency of healing. It's to heal other kittens and other things like that. So they can heal you. They can see spirits. They can do all kinds of really cool things.
Is that why that the cats, when they purr, they kind of give you peace? Like when you put them on your chest, like they give you like that sense of peace and stuff like that. Wow, that's really, really. And you know what? A lot of people don't like cats.
I love cats.
Yeah.
I love cats.
I like cats. The thing I don't like is having that connection, and then you have to move, and then you can't have cats, or you can't have animals in your house, and then you have to give the cat away or the dog away. So once I bond with something, it's hard for me to break away from it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would live probably in a shoebox before I'd give up my cat.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. I'd make a way. I'd manifest another way, because that's not going to happen.
Well, then I feel really bad because I had to give mine away.
I mean, we have to do. I've had to give a cat away before, but I'm just saying now I have what's called a contract with my cat. My cat is a lot more healing for me than an actual average cat would be.
Right.
He's definitely helpful for me. But to answer her question, I don't want to leave her thinking I'm not paying attention to the outcome, but I would definitely try and speak with, like I said, an animal communicator and really get the information of what your cat wants. Okay. They're very, very aware how they would like to spend the rest of their time with you. If, what would bring them. Well, if you want to extend her life, I mean, the best thing that I could suggest is, find a quantum healer. You can either come to someone like me or find someone that feels that they have the capability of working with animals, and let them get into the auric field. So yeah, so it can be someone who works with animals. So it can be an animal healer. Again, quantum healing does work with animals as well. And then find out. I mean, instead of just guessing what makes her comfortable, you can get a reading, and somebody can absolutely tell you what your cat is thinking and what would be more beneficial for that specific. Yes, I know. Oh, what a beautiful name. I know. Cats are just, mine found me 3 months before what I call my Phoenix year. And if it wasn't for that cat, I actually had a point in my life where I wasn't quite sure if I was going to stick around because it was that bad for me. And the cat literally saved me. The cat not pulled me, but when a cat is trying to get your attention, like say there was kittens and mother cat's trying to get, goes back and forth. That's what that cat did with me, because he picked up on me being in a very dark place, and he just wasn't going to have it. He literally started to bite my hand and pull me out of the bathtub. So, I will
always. Was a cat that did that?
Yeah, my cat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My cat literally almost crawled in the bathtub with me and pulled, literally was mock pulling me out of the bathtub until I got out of the bathtub, and then went to the door and kept meowing and meowing and meowing until I would pull myself out of the bathroom. I was naked. I laid on the ground. I cried for hours. And then he followed me into another bedroom, and we laid there for a day and a half. So I was in a very dark place when I lost everybody. So I'm very lucky.
That's crazy. Barb says, if it wasn't for Bella, I would have never gotten out of my bed after my mom passed.
Absolutely. So that's what I mean by your guides probably sent you Bella because they knew you were going to go through hard times, and then activated Bella to be almost on a spiritual, almost like your own physical spiritual guide right here in your own house. You know what I mean? Which your guides are always with you, but sometimes you need that extra push of, so it sounds like a very similar thing. And I would definitely quantum healing, energy work, find an animal healer and an animal communicator. That would be your best bet.
That's great. I mean,
crystals are good too.
Crystals are good too, right?
Yep. Animals love crystals.
Wow. That's crazy. She says she's 17 and otherwise was healthy.
Well, that's pretty old. That is a pretty old. I mean, she's sticking around pretty good then.
Yeah, 17 years old. That's a lot of that's old.
For a cat, you usually don't make it past 20, and it's usually about in those 15, 17 years that they start to have issues. And unfortunately, it's the same issues that humans have, is that until you have a cat that starts to get a little bit sick, you don't realize how bad everything they tell us to give our animals. The food that we give them is just chocked full of all this fake stuff, all these fillers, all these things, all the shots, the rabies shots are full of heavy metals, and it can hurt and harm the liver. I mean, they tell us to do all this stuff, but that they tell us to do stuff to ourselves as well that's harmful. So it's
well, I think a lot of people are not really trusting the health care system. A lot of faith has been lost through this pandemic, and to say the least. Look at Dr. Fauci. He stepped down.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So and I said to myself, I said, wow, he stepped down because, I mean, they put him in a bad position, and I wouldn't want to be around that anyway either at all. So
yeah. It's just it's a hard go what happened to society. And I feel that it burned a lot of bridges with the healthcare. A lot of nurses that have been in it forever, and in a lot of the new nurses were kind of groomed in nursing school to be like these, pandemic fighters. And some of us older
Yeah.
nurses were kind of like, we recognized that there was something really wrong going on. And it was like, and then all of a sudden you had the new crew fighting the old crew, and it just got really weird in the healthcare system. And then you see that a lot of people were just, like what they say, quote unquote, following orders, right? Like I was just doing my job. And it's like, because one of the jobs I quit because they were trying to mandate me to do things that were irresponsible with a geriatric patients. I mean, they were older patients, and those aren't patients you just throw medications at because you're trying to cover up stuff. And so it's like, so I really, it's unfortunate. I mean, I do plan to go back here and there, but I don't see myself doing full time. I don't see myself, I once in a while, maybe take a contract here and there for like 8 weeks or something, but.
Yeah, you kind of fed up. I can see it. I can tell, like you fed up with that mess. But let's see what Barb says. She says, I always thought she'd live till 20. I always gave her high quality food, no rabies shots, just distemper.
Right. And I was not trying to put any blame on you at all. I mean, sometimes, sometimes loss can teach us a lot of things, right? So when we lose people, when we lose animals, it teaches us about attachment. Okay. It teaches us about, really what attachment is. And when we form attachments, it is hard to let go. And it's not to say don't ever get attached to anything. You are meant to be unconditionally loved and loved. But you can do that without restrictions. And attachment is more, I don't want to let it go. And a lot of times, like, so one of my favorite sayings that Buddha said is, someone asked the Buddha, what causes pain? And his reply was anything, like not letting go. That's what causes pain. All kinds of things can come to you, but it's our resistance of letting go that causes the pain. If something comes to you and the season has changed, like a death or a friendship over or losing a job or whatever, it's our attachment to it and not wanting to set it free that causes the pain. So sometimes it teaches us to sit and realize that death is not the end. It's like a vehicle. It's stepping out of one vehicle and it's going into another. So, I mean, you can set the intention with your cat that you'll meet again. And that might be in the spiritual realms, or that might be in another life. But, you can do that with them. And I would say the best thing that you can do is try to extend it without pain, and learn when it's time to just bring comfort and, and be okay to set her free. So.
Okay, so if you want to reach out to Sarah, I'm going to put up her Instagram. This is your Instagram, right?
My TikTok, yes.
TikTok. Okay, and they can call you through TikTok?
So TikTok, I do have Instagram as well. So TikTok has it now where if you follow me, I believe you can still send me a message. I think they just changed that. But if not, you can go. It's the same exact handle for Instagram.
What about your new YouTube page? What is the name of that YouTube page?
So it's the exact same. I'm trying to use the same exact name, but I'm going to be spanning it across multiple, platforms. I haven't started it yet, but I'm in the very beginning stages where I'm going to
No, we're definitely going to do something.
We're going to do it, and I'm super excited for it. And basically, I'll just be sharing my experiences of what I've practiced and what I've done to get over grief and get over trauma, childhood trauma. So you can contact me through Instagram or TikTok. All you got to do is let me know, like, hi, this is Barb. We talked on, the show, and then we can get it going. And I do have a link in my TikTok. There's a calendar link. You can always click on that and you can book an energy session. But if you'd like to DM me personally, that's perfectly fine. And we can go from there. So the YouTube is going to be more teaching. I'm going to just try and teach as much as I can and help people to realize that the spiritual awakening movement, it's not really a movement. It's a thing that's happening, is not to fear. There's a lot of new age stuff that has really been infiltrated and is not the best teachings. It's what we call kind of half truths, right? It's like it leads you pretty close to it, but then it stops you, and it needs to be fully embodied. And so those things that I've seen and practiced myself, I'm going to be sharing with people. It's all about full disclosure.
Real quick, can you explain darkness?
So darkness is, I mean, on a personal level, darkness is the places and the things about yourself that you have either been told to reject or you found undesirable and you rejected. So it could be, that you've had experiences about your sexuality where as a woman we're told don't be over sexual, or you're this or you're that, or things like that. And so it shames, and that's a generational thing, right? You get into religion and all these things, they tell you to basically suppress all that. And it's a very sacred thing, and it should be treated as such. So you take that darkness. So I really enjoy sexual experiences. And then you change that into studying about how sexual experiences are very sacred. And so you take your darkness and you transmute it and you learn about it and you don't shame it. And you just find a sacred way to practice certain things. But it can be, it doesn't have to be. I go there because it's kind of like where people will say certain aspects of themselves that they'll shame themselves. So any place you shame yourself, you guilt yourself, that you were told you were too much, or, you're too shy, anything you've ever been told that you reject yourself, you need to look at. You have to look at, and they call it shadow work. And it's basically a process of, when you're a kid, and you're like, but why? And then a parent's like, oh, no. And you're like, yeah, but why?
Right.
And they tell you to stop, you have to kind of re-embody that and about yourself. So my relationships always end up where I end up with liars and cheaters. Okay. So let's shadow work that. Well, why? Why do I end up with them? Because I missed the red flags. Well, do I miss the red flags, or do I purposely not see the red flags?
You ignore the red flags.
Right. Yeah. Or do I ignore the red flags? Okay. So why would I ignore a red flag? Because I want what I want. Okay. Well, why do you want something that's bad for you? Right. So you just keep asking why, and then you get it down to a core level emotion.
Do you think it's like urges that make us like do things that we don't want to do, like because we have such a high sexual, like, not tolerance, but a high sex drive, we accept certain things that we really know we really don't need and we really shouldn't have, because I can say sometimes, I've been picking people that really aren't really good for me. They really don't have that same kind of way of thinking that I have. It's, so yeah, that's my question.
Absolutely. So the thing that you can usually find is a theme. When you find a theme in your life, so religion or like relationships, or, if you always tell that you've been drawn to the wrong person, you kind of usually need to go to your inner child. What we don't understand is our inner child, if it is unhealed, will pick our partners. And
That's so true. That's so true, because there's so many people that have unhealed situations, and I keep telling them, see, like, that's I can really relate to you, because I can say that I have a little bit of power myself. I know I'm not, I do have a little bit, and the power that I have, I really don't know and understand it as of yet, but I've seen a lot of things ahead of time, and then I'll make some music and then somebody else will come out with that music, and like I've made it already before. I've already thought about it. There was times when, like I've had problems with people, and I didn't even have to touch them. You know what I mean? Like, it was already taken care of.
Mhm.
I've had situations where, um, I could just go down the road and talk about, all the stuff that I've uh, that dealt with, and it's just, I don't know. What do you think about, those?
So when it comes to it, I tell myself all the time, because I grew up with a pretty traumatic childhood and a father that was narcissistic. And so the love was very, You know, you had to like tit for tat, you know, you're going to act right, you get love. If you don't act right, then, you know, things like that. And so I found myself always choosing partners that were just a little bit out of my reach because they were unavailable. Right. So it's like I always wanted to take and get that unavailable person and rewrite the script. And what we don't realize is the inner child is picking people that may not look or whatever, but the frequency of them feels familiar, but that's trauma. So that's called a trauma bond. And so what we do is we end up trauma bonding with people and then trying to rewrite the ending that didn't happen at childhood. We try and like change it into, but what we don't realize is that's kind of a sinking ship, right? The thing is to be around somebody who doesn't necessarily get you all like, you know, makes you feel like you have fire in you. You want someone who makes you feel calm. You want somebody who helps your nervous system. You want somebody, and sometimes if you grew with trauma.
Someone that's like the cat?
Huh?
Someone that's just like the cat?
Someone who's just like the cat, right? Somebody who can bring you peace and calmness, and everybody deserves that. I know a lot of people are talking about men being a divine feminine's piece, but the divine feminine needs to be the masculine's piece as well. It's about peace and love and unity. And unfortunately, if nobody has been taught about energy, if no one's been taught about their inner child, shadow work, they haven't gone down that road, therapy, we'll just, you know, therapy too. You're dealing with an adult child. That's exactly who you're dealing with. And so you have all these adult children walking around trying to basically hurt each other, project onto each other, all this other stuff. And then you get sex involved and oh my God, you know, there you go. It's all, you know, it gets kind of crazy. So
well, speaking of sex, I mean, Barb is saying, how is it that men can have intimate relationships with women and have not caught any spiritual feelings? Now, before you say something, let me just say this, is that women are, I don't know, I think from a man's point of view, maybe you can, I think that men try to conquer women. And a lot of times when you're at a certain age, they try to conquer as much as they can. It's something about the conquering of it that I think for men, that's what they do. But also women are innies and guys are outies. And I think when someone's going in, it's messing with all these different things inside your body. I don't know, Sarah. Let me let Sarah take this one.
Well, I mean, it's a very interesting topic. I went down this road because I had shamed myself about my sexuality. I have an extremely high sex drive. I used it when I was, you know, drinking. I went through phases where I was an alcoholic and all those different things like that because I was trying to escape my trauma. And then I tried to replace what I thought was love with sex. You know what I mean? So I went down those roads. But the thing is that a woman, it is very difficult for a woman to be turned on for a sexual experience if there is no emotional bond. We literally, without, you know, we're just like all dried up. Like we're not open and flourished and ready to go. Men, they don't need that. They don't need to feel something in that heart space to be ready to go, right? And so that's where a little bit of the issue is with the disconnects. But what we need to realize, and I've done this as an energy healer, like when you start sleeping, when you sleep with anyone, people need to understand this. This is why in the ancient days it was considered sacred. It was a sacred act, is because energetically you exchange energy. You absolutely do. That is 100% true. So while you're in the throes with somebody and say you pick, you know, you're drunk, you pick a kind of a shady friend or whoever it is that doesn't have good energy, you are literally giving some of your good energy to them, which will amplify them. And then they're giving some of their shitty energy to you. And so what happens, and that's because, have you ever, you know, had sex with somebody and then you think about it like intensely for like 3 days? Like you're just like, it's always like you start daydreaming about it and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had situations where 3 days, maybe about a daggone week. You know,
right. Okay. All right.
I said to myself, daggone, what the heck was that? She done twisted me up in a circle, a pretzel. You know, Jesus Christ, you know. But then there's some that you don't even think about.
Yeah, well, that's true. But if you're thinking about them or not, there is a spiritual blending that happens. And so you have to, as women, what we don't realize, everyone, it will stay within your body, right? On your body for at least 3 days. And it can stay in your field for almost 7 years. It really can. And that's why you need to do auric cleanses, and you need to be prepared that if someone's energy is not good for you, you need to cleanse yourself of that. And a woman's body will usually tell, but like when you become an energy worker like me, I can tell if I need to clear a woman's energy off of me because the person I slept with has slept with another woman. That's how much I'm sensitive to energy. I mean, I can feel it all, right? And so, but the thing is that you have to really pick good partners so that you amplify each other, right? So that it's a very good emotional. And then what men need to realize is if they're with a woman who is spiritual and highly attuned, there's a lot of things that can happen during that sex. You can manifest during making sacred sex. You can heal past lives while you're having sacred sex. You can reach levels of like what they call cosmic orgasms and stuff, because you're opening up your chakras and you're sharing chakras. There's so much beautiful feeling.
That's the beautiful part. But I don't hate to be a devil's advocate, but I just feel there's another part where there's a serpent. And I'm not going to say me, but I'm just going to say that people have, touched somebody, and they've been in their clutches. Oh, now they got me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I'm all googly guy. Now I don't know what, you know what I'm saying. Only thing is, I hear them talking, but I just want to get back to where we was before. Can we do it one more time? And so the mind is, and that's what I think. I don't know. For me, I don't know. It's hard to stop. I mean, you can't just jump in with emotions, because when you jump in with emotions, you just putting all your cards out on the table. You know what I mean?
I think that's what it is much men. This is women. I think women don't give men enough credit because you guys are extremely emotionally intelligent. You absolutely are. We have this idea, right? We're sold this idea that you guys are just like you guys have no emotional span. That's not true. You're just more strategic. Like you just said, know emotions, but you're prepared to not show the cards yet. And us women are a little bit more like, we're just really easy. It's easy for us to express it. You know what I mean? And so,
there's some cold-blooded. Listen, there's some cold-blooded women out there.
Oh,
I'm not even gonna. There's some really cold-blooded women out there. But Barb is saying, if I'm thinking of him days after, are they thinking of me too? Probably not. Ha ha.
No, that's not true. That's not true. If you're feeling them emotionally, like you can, so I'll show an experience of, okay, so I'm very attuned, and I'm not saying like I'm tooting my own horn, but it's an example of where people can go and what they should be looking for. I had enough of my partner's energy on me early on that I was able to pick up that he actually had a curse on him from his father's lineage. And so I cleared the curse because I actually had enough of his energy on me to be able to get there to do it. So
does that mean in the middle of sex, you'd be like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm feeling something. Back up.
So this was actually afterwards that I felt it, but during it, during sex, women, men, you can say, like, I set the intention that every time someone, I make love to someone, or I'm having sex, whatever word you want to use, is that I'm healing us together. So that means so I've had times where the person and I were having difficulty talking. We were having communication skill issues. I set a very strong intention that it was going to heal our communication. And then within a couple of days, we were having, it wasn't easy conversation, but it was absolutely honest, and it was absolutely what I needed. And so it's like, that's what happens, is you can do all kinds of stuff with that energy. But unfortunately, what happens is, a lot of people get.
Well, let me just say this. I've had a situation where, I had a young lady, and I did everything. I had her moving around, saying different, sounds, and elbows moving and all kinds of good stuff. I thought I was really, I said to myself, I'm the man. You know what I mean? I felt like I was the man. You know what I mean? And
right.
And then she turned around and went back into this cold-blooded thing. And I was like, hold up, wait a minute. I thought I was the man. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like Barb, you say there's some men that will probably not be thinking about you, but there's some women out there that just hang you up and dry you out. You know,
Absolutely. They're just using you. But that's a societal issue. That's usually a woman's scorn. When a woman gets there, and I've gotten there before my
okay,
awakening, I had gotten there, and
right.
that was multiple men had shown me something that made me feel like they don't deserve to see the rest of me.
Okay, but I'm sorry, Sarah, but I'm finding that I'm dealing with this situation on a regular basis. I need a crystal to deal with the scorn. I need something. No, I'm this. I need a rubber band, some garlic. I need something. I need something to deal with the scorn because they coming at me. They coming swinging. They
Mm,
come swinging first, and it's like, why are you swinging? Like I said to one person, I said, why you got a 22 in your sock, a Glock in your ribs, and you got a shotgun in your back. Like you coming with the energy already.
yeah.
Like
Yeah. That's
what like
trauma. That's
is
trauma.
that
That's long exposure to um, being kind of the spirit of the woman being broken down over time. And so she shows up. What happens is we all have a masculine energy and a feminine energy. You have a feminine energy and within your body. I have a masculine energy within my body. We have those. And so what happens is it's called a polarity, right? So we're more drawn to, so say if I'm a more masculine woman, I'd be drawn to a man, say that's a little less masculine because that polarity would work. But what happens is when women get hurt over and over again by being vulnerable, by doing the things that we think, we want you, we want to date you. We don't want to go with the flow. We want you to be our boyfriend. You know what I mean? And then we get shut down and things like that. So what happens is that woman goes into her masculine energy, which means she's basically shutting off her heart space.
oh God.
Right. But no, your masculine energy is more strategic, right?
Right,
That's why
right.
men are more strategic, but we all possess that energy within us, right? It's supposed to be a harmony within us because then we're able to have our emotions and then our masculine energy puts us on the path for action. So look at it as action and emotions. And so if you want to take the feminine and masculine words out of it, just say your emotions and your actions. So what happens is after a woman has been exposed to too much hurt, she'll shut it off and she'll just go into action space like other men. And so you're dealing with kind of a reverse, a little bit of a reverse situation there.
Well, let me say this. If I don't get anything from you, I need a crystal. Okay, I
Okay.
need something, and I know it's a big ask, but I need something that I can wave in front of these girls. Just waving in front of them because the negative, the energy, the gangster boogie. Like I'm not with that. I'm not. I'm a real like. And then I try to be nice, and then you can't be nice. Nice guys finish last. I feel like, but this. I've been running into the weirdest situations, and this is when I said the energy that's around me. I ran into this girl that she was pregnant, and she met me in the store, and she asked me for my phone number, and I never had a female ask me for my phone number, but
Mm-hmm.
that was new. And then I got her on the phone and I found out that she was pregnant. I thought she was heavy, but she's pregnant, right? And so she's having this conversation with me, trying to get to know me. Like, I'm like, why are you trying to get to know me? You have a whole energy in your stomach. Okay. So then we get on to start texting, and she starts to sext me. What do you call it? Sexting.
Sexting, right?
So it was like the energy was like, yes, it was going back and forth, and I figured, let me just play along with it. Let me, I got a couple of things to say. So I was like, yeah,
I got a couple of things to say.
I got a couple of things to say. And, I said, like, I'm going to flip you on your back and twist you in a knot and pour cream pie over you. And, and so she comes back with this thing where, yeah, I'm going to take you and split you in half. I said, hold on, wait a minute. And so, and then I never heard from her again.
Weird. I mean,
You see what I'm talking about? What the hell was that?
I don't know. See, my thing would be, instead of a crystal, it really seems like, though, there's got to be signs, though. There's got to be signs.
It's mental illness. That's got to be mental illness. There is mental
illness. Of course, mental illness does this. But I'm saying it's probably like what I was saying is that you start to get the red flags. And then, like you said, well, I got a couple of things I could say. Maybe not say those couple of things. Just be like, oh, wow, you know what? That's kind of a road I'm not willing to go down. Thank you so very much.
I tried that. I tried to say, listen, this road is a little different for me. I'm not, used to being on the phone talking about flipping you like a pancake, throwing butter on you and some syrup. She took me totally out of my, and I'm over here saying, lift your arm up. Can you feel me tickling your toes? And it was like something that was, but then to disappear. Well, I mean, I texted her a couple of days ago. She says I'm busy, but busy doing what? You know what I mean?
Talking to somebody else.
Exactly. So, that whole energy, right? I don't know what it is when you have a baby inside your stomach and you want to talk nasty to the next man and not the man that you were with.
A lot of hormones are going through a pregnant woman. So, I mean, it's known that pregnant women are quite horny, but but you don't know the situation. But I would just say that maybe a little bit better discernment. Maybe a little more vetting. A little more vetting. Yeah.
So,
just a little bit better at vetting people.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you can, I know that there's something out there that garlic, I don't know if she's a witch, vampire, I don't know what the hell she is, you know what I mean? But if we're going to keep these lines of communication open, everybody listen, if you want to reach out to Sarah, she will be with us on a regular basis. Yes. She has definitely opened my eyes to a few situations. If you look in the chat, it says lucky_Christic.
Crystal. It's Crystal with an HL, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely gonna have to look at this here and let me put it up real quick. This is her information. Reach out to her. I've known Sarah for a minute there, and every time I talk to her, it's like a breath of fresh air, and it's like enlightening. Today, I feel like I accomplished something. I feel like I had this weight on my shoulders that it was me. And just being here talking to you, Sarah, makes me feel that it ain't me.
It's we always got to take those little parts of responsibility. So I would talk to your inner child.
I know. I might have a little responsibility, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty good. Okay. I think I'm not. I'm a pretty nice guy. But the serpent has definitely crawled up into my kahunas. And so therefore, I definitely need you around. And I'm sure anybody out there, if you have anybody in your kahunas or just slithering up your leg, please reach out to Sarah. She's going to give you the information. We have the information up and she is available for you if you need any kind of what?
Energy healing, tarot readings, psychic abilities, any gift that I got to help you, spiritual coaching. I do a lot of that. I have long-term clients that I meet with twice a week and we go over their own personal struggles. And so I'm kind of like a spiritual coach as well. So.
Right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you are definitely embarrassing me with this one person in the chat and on the thing here, but that's fine though, because you know what it is? Everybody, for some reason, is busy, and you guys are going to get to this later on. You probably see it later on, so I know you'll see it. Let's work on trying to be more consistent. I'll work on trying to be more consistent and put more footage up on a regular basis. If you try to be more consistent in looking at my stuff and going over to our page and subscribing to the channel. Um, I think I have one more question for you.
Sure.
And Out of body experiences, right? This is a tough one. This is a tough one, right? Out of body experiences, people having out of body experiences. Some people have told me that you know, um, they found themselves walking somewhere, and it wasn't really, they weren't there, but they were walking there, and or they came into a party and seeing what was going on, and they had an out of body experience. Can you explain to me what is an out of body experience?
So we usually call it astral projecting. And so it can happen if you've had previous lives where you were extremely spiritual or gifted. It comes pretty natural. If you haven't, it takes a little bit of experience. You have to trust it. So a lot of people do it at night, and they don't even realize it. Is they can astral project where your soul actually leaves the vessel and it goes to other places, and it can go way past what we call dream state. It can go to faraway systems. It can go to teaching places. There's places called like crystal temples where a lot of spiritual teaching is going on in dreams. And there's a lot of healing that happens in dream state. And so everybody can, and not everybody does it to a very strong degree. The people that do usually experience, while they're growing up or around that time, a little bit of sleep paralysis, because there's times where your body, say my cat is starting to wake me up, but I'm astral traveled. So I start to feel the disconnect. So I've had it where I'm in the middle of a dream and I'm talking to a guide, and all of a sudden I can just feel myself being pulled like this, just pulled backwards. And I'm like, oh, there we go. It's all done. And then it's like I crash land in my body, and Lucky's over walking by my face or something. So my body was responding, sending me a signal that I needed to come back. And so I kind of, sometimes I call it like a crash landing because
Right.
I wake up and I literally, to go to the bathroom or something, I'll be bouncing off the walls. Like it's almost like I'm drunk, like I got sailor legs, because I'm not fully kind of back and grounded in my body. And sometimes you can do it during meditation. So people envision themselves sitting in meditation, and it's you try and project yourself, as in seeing yourself like come out of your body and be looking at yourself while you're meditating. They can call that remote viewing. If you did it just to this degree, where you were just seeing if you could get a bird's eye view of looking at yourself while you're meditating, that's remote viewing. But if you start to see yourself floating outside of your house and you can see yourself going down the street, that's astral projecting. And that's what out of the body experiences would be.
Wow, that's interesting, because I had I don't know whether it was a dream or out of body experience, but I was in my house, and I like to travel. I like to do things, and recently I've had problems traveling. So, um, I was laying down, and all of a sudden, I don't know whether I closed my eyes or what the situation was, but I felt like I walked on a plane, and I gave the guy a ticket, and I said I was on my way to the Dominican Republic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because somebody had, because that, I guess that's probably where, to me in my head, maybe that's where all the lonely guys go, to the Dominican Republic. So here I am, I'm sitting in the Dominican Republic, and I'm at the beach, and I got the umbrellas of water, and I got all these girls around me, and they were touching my chest, and I don't know whether that was an out of body experience, or maybe I was having a wet dream in the middle of the night, or
It feels a little bit more like a dream. Usually astral projecting, there's a little bit more usually of a purpose other than like seeing yourself going to do something. Usually you're meeting a guide or a teacher or you can see timelines though. So what you could have been doing is seeing a timeline of that you can choose. So when you're in dream state, that's why when I was a child, I used to be able to see the futures, because I could see all these different events happen, and you get to choose your timeline, and then you wake up, and that's where deja vu comes from.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, I used to do it. So a little example of projection is when I was younger, I thought everyone did this. I really did. And that's the thing about gifts, is that you don't really talk to other people about it. I just figured everyone did this. So I would be asleep. I would have these really crazy dreams. I dream in color. I can change my dreams in the middle of the dream. I can be like, I would look better in yellow. And all of a sudden my shirt's yellow.
Yeah.
Like really intense like
Wait,
that.
that's what I used to do that too. I used to, you remember I Dream of Jeannie?
Yes.
Okay, so people don't laugh at me. I'm being very transparent on this line here. So, or you comments, just wait, let me see the comments, because y'all gonna get silly. All right, so listen, and I'm gonna get to you, Barb, in 1 second. Let me just tell her this. Okay, so when I was younger, I was, I think when you're falling from a mountain, you're falling, or you go through something, and you're in the middle of a gang fight, and you're about to get shot. And what I used to do was I used to get on a skateboard and ride away, or I would blink my eyes just to get out of it, right? And I would probably, if I was falling, I would all of a sudden have wings.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's good. That means you've probably had, usually spiritually evolved people can quickly change their dreams like that. You have experience with it.
Yes, and that's why I'm telling you, there's something wrong with me.
It's not wrong. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It means that you have a design where it's like you see a problem, blink, I can fix that. I look better in yellow, blink, I look better. You know what I mean? It's like you have control of what we call the hologram.
So why can't I get rid of child support?
Because that's different.
Blink. Can I just blink and get rid of, I don't know. I'm just trying to be funny.
So like one of the things I used to do is I would wake up from these crazy dreams, and I'd take a shower, I'd pick out my clothes, I'd get dressed, I'd be walking down the stairs, and all of a sudden I'd go like this, and I'd wake up and I'd still be laying in bed. And I never had gotten up, and I had projected myself in dream state, and I did this whole thing. And then I woke up and I was still sleeping in bed. And so I would get up and take a shower and pick out the same exact clothes I saw in dream. And I'd go about my day. But I used to do that all the time. And I thought that was a regular thing until later in life, people were like, no, no, that's astral projecting. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's different.
Wow, that's crazy, because being that you said that, I just connected with those things, like the thing about blinking, and now I'm saying, I've definitely, and I always knew I had something though. I always knew I had something, and it's inside of me, but I don't know how to use it. But it's all good. Barb says, I'm a prophetic dreamer and also dream in color. Wow, that's great. Well, there's a lot of people that have interest in this, and the way you communicate and talk, I mean, if you make everything so surreal, and that just the energy behind you, I love it. I definitely appreciate you. I just want to also let people know, if you would like to connect with Sarah, this is her information right here. You can just go to her Instagram page or her TikTok page, but she's going to have a YouTube page. Sarah's coming back to this channel. She doesn't know that. She's coming back here, and she's
I
going.
would love to.
Yes, no, definitely, because you made me a believer. And with these crystals sitting over here, it definitely, I know that there's something, that there's something is in the works.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you would like to share? What can someone do to even be a part of this? But let's talk about that real quick. What can people do? What's the first thing they need to know in order to be a part of this kind of system? Is this a religion?
It's not a religion. Spirituality, the reason why spirituality is so beautiful is it is away from, well, unfortunately, New Age has kind of turned a little bit into kind of like a group, right? They tell you, they kind of say, well, you're not going to ascend unless you do X, Y, and Z. And I'm the first person to tell you that that is not true. Spirituality, you could have three people that believe in spirituality that all practice different practices, and they're all evolving. You can have somebody who's a root practitioner and into hoodoo, and other people are into witchcraft, and other people are into actually spirituality and Jesus. I mean, there's all these different blends, and it's very, very personal. But the one thing that you do need, and you'll find in all of the things, is you have to learn to face yourself. You have to. You can't avoid yourself. You can't avoid your darkness. You have to do what's called shadow work and inner child work. Those are what I tell people. The beginning of spirituality is all about the mental gymnastics. Because what happens is, as you start to realize who you are, who you truly are, not who your grandparents projected onto you from your generational line, or trauma from your parents, or whatever did society. You get to know who you are on an authentic level. And what happens is you start to drop what's called density. You drop all of that heavy negative energy, or things that were kind of stifling your energy field.
Right.
And as that happens, you're open to more spiritual experiences. So your third eye starts to open. So you can sense your guides. You have more prophetic dreams. You see auric fields around people. I mean, that happens as you evolve.
But
So
that
really,
Dominican
it's just
Republic
more
the
being,
Dominican Republic thing was a dream, though, right?
yes, it felt like a dream.
Okay, yeah, because I just wanted to clear that up real quick.
Yeah, just
Okay, yeah.
yeah, it felt like there's a possible timeline there, though. You can always snatch onto it,
Well, I mean, I was thinking about going to the Dominican Republic because I'm, like I said, single guy. What I'm saying, it's very hard to find girls that are not got AIDS diseases and stuff like that. Maybe you can help me in that level too. I'm trying to find
We can do a reading and see what we can find.
Yeah, I need to find love on a two-way street, and I just don't want to lose it on a one-way highway.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely enlightening. I'm not going to hold you too long because I know you have things to do as well. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, Barb and everybody else out there, she's coming back and she's going to talk more about this stuff. But what I want you to do is I want you to connect with her IG page, connect with her TikTok, because I'm going to help her work on her YouTube page. And she's going to come back here and she's going to start here and then move over there, or vice versa. We're just going to have a family here. And we're going to keep the good people. We're going to stay together. You know what I mean? And you're welcome to use my platform at any time for whatever you want to do.
Okay. And you can let them know that if, we promote it and get it out there, that when we get a group of people in here, I can do group energy healing, where I can do energy work on everybody that's in the live.
Okay. And then you can put your Cash App up, and we'll put your Cash App up, and those who want to donate to you as you do that, you know what I mean? Because it's not a payment, it's a donation.
Right.
And we like to support people. And Barb says she found love on a two-way street and you lost it on a lonely highway, huh, honey? Well, you know what it is? That's a song. You know the song, Sarah?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's a song. That's a Stacy Lattisaw.
I know the two-way street part, but I don't.
On a street and lost it on a lonely highway. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, now I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, everybody. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and taking the time and having a conversation with me, learning about self-love, talking to Sarah about the healing process. Self-love is important. You know what I mean? We cannot. That's the first step. You have to love yourself. And for those who are out here and you feel the hurt and you feel the pain and you're very sensitive, I feel you. I feel you. And I know you guys are saying, well, I'm so sensitive, I'm so nice. Why is everything around me so mean and angry? Why are people so mean? I feel you. I understand. Trust me. I am with you. Okay. And okay. Yes, Barb says it's a song. Yes, it is a song. Awesome song and vibe. Yes, yes. Talk to you. Yes, yes, definitely. Um, yeah, so again, we want to change the narrative. We want to change the way this world is going. And people like me, people like Sarah, people that I have in my life, I'm not getting any monetization off of this channel. I'm not getting money, and I don't want the money. What I want is I want to fix people. I want to help people. I want to get my blessings, because one day, you know, I'm gonna get my blessings too as well. So, Sarah, I appreciate you so much.
You're very welcome.
I
Thank
really
you for
do.
having me.
Yes, yes, and we're gonna put her information in the description. If you want to reach out to her, she's got awesome vibes. Check her out on IG. Check her out on Instagram and all that stuff. And this is her information right here. Just make sure you click in link to her stuff there. I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to say we have to be grateful and thankful for everything that we have in this world. What do you think, Sarah?
Absolutely. Gratefulness. When you're grateful for things that you have, that you currently have, it raises your frequency, and it also tells the universe you're ready for more.
Woo! Listen, she said it. She said it. And that right there just closes the whole show. Have a great day. This is Like It Really Is. Thank you, Sarah, for coming. And we'll see you on Wednesday.
Salute, kids. Always. Always thankful and grateful. Salute, kids. Always. Always thankful and grateful. Let me stay blessed. You heard? I'm so blessed. So are you. Yeah. I love myself, I love my life, I love my kids, I love my wife, I'm positive, I try to do what's right. I respect darkness, but rather live in light. Yo, I love my fam, I love my mom, I love my community, I love God, I love unity. He died for you and me. I'll always be thankful and grateful. Wouldn't you be? Sing it, Queen.